KUGAN, CASSIUS for IFL TV in association with Macclesfield Marbella. I'm at the headquarters of Frank Warren here. How are you, Frank?
I'm pretty good, mate. What about you?
Yeah, all good. Just, I feel like the year hasn't quite started yet. I don't know.
No, it's not actually. I mean, we had the Wilder fight.
Yeah.
Early in the year, and it's just not sorts of, there's not a lot going on around the world, but in the next month it all starts really picking up, and hopefully we're all going to be busy, and us boxing addicts, and they get all we want.
Absolutely. I want to start off by talking to you about, obviously, the news that came out last week that Billy Joe Saunders will step aside to allow Andy Lee to fight Peter QUILLIN for his world title. It come as a little bit of a shock to people, and for people just sort of on the outside, they might say that this was Billy Joe's best opportunity right now to win that world title. So why has he done that?
It's a couple of reasons. First of all, there's no doubt him and Andy Lee's a big fight. We all know that, and it's a fight that I would like to put in a stadium. We've got West Ham. We'd like to put it on in West Ham. Adam Booth wants to do it in Limerick, in the stadium in Limerick. Problem we got is the time of year. It's just the football season's on over here, and the weather. You can't be sitting outside late at night watching that. And to put it on in a smaller venue, and we didn't have the availability, by the way, of a venue to get it into in the next few months. So we can't put that fight on in a sort of 10,000 seat venue, because it's not going to generate the income it should do for the boxers. So what happened is that Al Heyman, through Lou DiBella, contacted us. They said about making the QUILLIN fight. That's going on NBC on the 11th of April. And with Bill, the possibility of Bill fighting on the undercard. For me, Bill fighting on the undercard, that gets him tremendous exposure on terrestrial TV in America. So we're quite keen to do that, with the winners fighting each other in the summer, and we can do that then in the soccer stadium. Adam Booth fancies his man big time for this fight, and I know that Andy Lee fancies it, and I know that QUILLIN would probably be favourite, but then that happened in Andy Lee's last two fights, and he upset all the odds and stopped the two guys that he fought. So I just think that it's a great opportunity for Bill. He's not in any way, doesn't compromise him. Whatever happens, he's going to fight for his world title. But instead of being in March or early April, it'll be sometime late May, early June. So that's really where we're at, and that's the reason we did it.
As regards to obviously the Andy Lee QUILLIN fight, if Peter QUILLIN is to beat Andy Lee, does that change the situation regarding Billy Joe Saunders? No,
the winner has to fight Billy Joe Saunders. That was the agreement reached by everybody, and that's on the understanding that the WBO have allowed the fight to take place. So Bill's position is preserved. The fights both, by the way, will be on BoxNation, so you'll be able to watch the fight on BoxNation. So his position is preserved, and it makes it a bigger fight, because the winners will get American TV. So it's going to introduce more income into the equation.
I've spoken to Billy Joe Saunders off camera about this situation, and he's explained to me that without going into it, he spoke the ins and outs of why he did it and etc. Echoing the reasons you've said as well. But is there an argument, Frank, that for people looking at Billy Joe Saunders just to win a world title, forget the stadium side of it and where you want to put it on, but it was there and then for him right now?
Yeah, I do understand people would say that, and I hear where they're coming from. But now you've got to look at the facts. The facts are we're pushing it back by 8 weeks, or 90 days, from the winner, from the fight taking place. It's no hardship, and more importantly, the fans. If I had my way, the fans will get into a stadium, and they will, and they'll see a bit of history. If Andy Lee come through, it's two travellers fighting each other for the world title. I don't think that's happened before. That'd be huge. It'd be a huge stadium fight, and by any common sense situation, and I've got to look after Bill's financial interest as well as being the boxing side of it. He comes out and it secures him fairly well, hopefully for life. And if he goes on to win the fight and he wins it on with getting a TV exposure in the States, doing it, a TV company coming into it, that's huge. That's huge for him. It puts him on the map. You know, that's what we did with Amir Khan. That's what we did with Joe Saunders. That's what we did with Ricky Hatton. Got American TV involvement. That's the only way. You can only take boxers so far with American income. With British income, from income at the gates and the TV. After that, you have to start looking for a bigger market to be able to get finance from. And obviously that's America. And obviously doing what we've done will enable Bill to benefit from that.
What would have happened with Billy Joe Saunders, him being in a manager situation, if he wanted that fight next?
He would have had it. He would have had it.
So that would have been that?
No, I mean, I sat down and talked to him about it in great length, and he listened to what I said. I know that might pee off a few people, but in my opinion, it is the best move for him for what he's doing in the next 5 months. It makes more sense than not. And as I say, I'd much rather be seeing, you know, Bill and Andy Lee in a stadium rather than, you know, we're trying to find somewhere else where we're getting 10,000 people in. It lends itself to a stadium fight. He proved that last time. You know, we had the show last November. We had, you know, nearly 20,000 at what's called the XL Arena. That's what that drew. Just, you know, we had the heavyweight fight and we had him fighting Chris Eubanks. The Andy Lee fight is a bigger fight. It's a bigger fight, and then come to the end of that, find out who's the best out of them. Then you've got Chris Eubanks, who's fighting on the 28th of February against Shooter. If he comes through that, look at that fight you're building up for September, late September, October. So that's really where we're at. That's what we're trying to do, and that's what we're trying to establish. Get these guys all fighting each other, and that's the way forward as far as I'm concerned.
What gives you reason to obviously make the assumption that this could be a stadium filler? What tells you from Andy Lee and Billy Joe Saunders, if this is the fight that you want? What tells you that?
Because of the situation, because of the fight what happened between him and Eubanks, it was such a good fight. Everybody loved it. You'd pay to go and see Billy Joe fight again. You know how Andy Lee fights. You know the exposure he's got in the States for his last 2 fights, and over here we showed it in BoxNation. I mean, he has the punch that can stop a fight. He gets caught. Bill's a good boxer, so it's got the ingredients of that great fight. You know, it's that makes something a little bit special, and I think that fight will be special.
When you go to put on shows, Frank, I mean, Eubanks Saunders was one of the fights it captured the imagination last year that everyone was talking about it. The people that wasn't interested in boxing knew about Saunders. Eubanks were talking about it. Yeah. I live with people that I know that not really too hardcore into boxing. But is it one thing you can't tell until that you've announced the fight and that time period between that and the fight where you see this is getting bigger and bigger? Or can you perceive this before?
No, I thought it was going to be a big fight because it was bubbling. You know, with all what was going on in the sort of modern media world of Twitter and whatever, yeah. they were at it against each other, and people, you know, sort of, as you say, it took interest, it crossed over and appealed. The same will happen with Andy Lee. That's a big fight in their community, in that travelling community. That it is a huge fight. It's a huge fight, and I know that it'll be something special. I know the atmosphere will be electric. You know, Bill said straight away, "I'll have the fight." He said, "I want 200 grand's worth of tickets for it." And he sold 100 odd for the Eubanks fight. So he said, "I want 200 grand's worth of tickets." So that tells you that you know, the interest is there.
You know more about the governing bodies, the WBO. How I can't think of the word, but in regards to them forcing their mandatories and them mandatories having, how strict are they with that?
Well, they're very strict. If you get all the parties agree, then it's a no-brainer. You're not asking for a decision. You're saying, you know, let Lee fight QUILLIN, and then go straight to the winner, then fight Bill. So it's a no-brainer. I'm sure they'd much rather see their mandatories go on. But one time, if you remember, Adam Buford was saying he went to fight on March the 14th in Dublin, and we put Bill on the undercard. Yeah. And we did actually say that's the direction we was probably going to go in whilst we was waiting to get into the big stadium. Yeah. So it's just overtaken itself, and that's been delayed by a month till 11th of April with a much bigger fight. It's not Andy Lee fighting, you know, somebody in the rankings. He's fighting, you know, one of the guys out there in Quillen.
We do hope Andy Lee comes through his fight against Peter Quillen, but if Peter Quillen is victorious on April the 11th, does that make it very difficult to get Quillen over here, Frank?
I don't know. I mean, you know, I think Billy Joe's a bigger live attraction than Quillen, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And so why would it be difficult to get him over here? But whatever happens, he'll fight. You know, and he'll fight and he'll get American TV exposure, and that will get Billy Joe, who's my man, that will get him to where he needs to be. You know, big money purses. You know, that's what it's all about.
All right. Well, listen, we shall see how this.
It's exciting. You know, they are good. They're all. It's a good. You know, the old this middleweight division is very, very lively. Very exciting.
100%. We've got a show on in Wolverhampton at Civic Hall this week where Terry Flanagan, the unbeaten lightweight, goes head-to-head with Ormond, Stephen Ormond, and obviously we're blessed in this country with such an active and competitive lightweight division. So, two of the best, in your opinion, fighting this weekend?
Yeah, and it is a final eliminator for the title. So the winner, it's expected Terence Crawford will vacate the title this week, and if he does, then the winner of this will fight Diaz.
Yeah.
Bob Arum and I have spoken about that. So the winner of this fight this week will fight Diaz for the world title. So it's a great opportunity for him. These two, as you said, you know, we're blessed in the lightweight division. These two guys are quality fighters, and don't forget Derry Matthews, who's also got a tough fight, you know, but it's that you know, this division, they're out there, and Terry Flanagan's he's the fight that everybody wants to avoid. No one wants to fight him. And then you got Steve Ormond, who's tough as they come. Had a good win up in Liverpool, if you remember when he fought Derry. Yeah,
absolutely.
So this has the ingredients to being a great fight, and I think it will be a great fight. And they're quality operators, and let's say the winner's got something to go for. Then you've got Derry Matthews. It's Derry Matthews, who's got home advantage. If he gets victorious on the 6th of March, then you know you're setting up some really good fights here. You know, they've got the Diaz fight, Derry Matthews there. There's a lot of good domestic fights that can be made. You had Kevin Mitchell fight the other week. You know, so he's had his fight, and he's had his chances in the past, and you know, each time he fell short. You know, didn't show up for either of them, so who knows if he's going to resurrect himself. I think these guys are all better than him, by the way. I think that, you know, both Ormond and Flanagan are better fighters than him, and I think that, you know, the temperament will be who can deliver for the most important fight, which is the world title fight. That sorts the men out from the boys.
Did you see Kevin Mitchell's performance?
I did.
And what did you think?
I thought he boxed well.
Career best performance.
He boxed well. He did box well, you know, but he should box well. That's what he gets paid for. He did box well, and I won't take that away from him, you know. But he's boxed well in other fights. It's when he gets to the next level where he can produce the goods. He boxed well against Bradis Prescott. But Castides, in the dressing room, he looked at him and he was beat before he came out of the dressing room. And against Ricky Burns, he just wasn't at the races, was he, at all? So it's not just about, you know, their important fights. It's about, you know, all the way through to actually win the world title. So he's got another opportunity. Let's hope he comes through. If you can always fight one of these guys. Let's find out who's the best in Britain.
Going back to Derry Matthews, Derry, obviously there was an unfortunate incident involving Anthony Crolla last year, where the fight with Abril fell through. Derry Matthews has said numerous times that, but when he beats Abril, that he's quite happy to give a shot to Anthony Crolla. Do you, as his promoter, do you see an issue with that?
Wouldn't have a problem with that at all. You know, it's terrible what happened to Anthony. It's a shame, but you know, as I think Derry said himself, you know, it's enabled him to have the opportunity. So bad's come good, and if Derry comes through, and I think he's got a great chance of winning it, he comes through. Him and Anthony Crolla, what a huge fight that is up there. We'd gladly put that on, not in a heartbeat.
Okay. Well, Derry's got March the 6th, obviously.
Yeah. He's got to focus on that first. Let's worry about it afterwards. But listen, you're pushing an open door with us trying to make that. That is not even an issue.
All right. Well, we shall see. Upcoming shows. Obviously, the Wolverhampton one this week on Valentine's night. We've got Oval McKenzie and Matty Askin in a place called Widnes, which I'll be honest with you, I've never heard of until I saw it was announced for this fight.
You've never seen a war in Widnes?
No.
I'll promote a few shows like this. It's really.
I've never been to Widnes anyway, so.
Well, you're going to go, and that you know, that'd be a decent fight. That's a good little fight, you know, local fella against. And he's done brilliantly. I mean,
no one wants to fight Oval McKenzie.
No, but I've got to tell you something.
Yeah.
You've got to take your hat off to him. You've got to take your hat off to Martin. What he's done with him.
Yeah.
He's done tremendously well with him, and, you know, and turned his career around. For me, he's the best cruiserweight in the country.
Going back, March the 6th also sees Paul Butler aim to become a two-weight world champion, and if he does accomplish that on March the 6th, what an achievement for someone of his age.
Unbelievable, you know, in record time, and he won a world title faster than any other Englishman last year, and now he's going drop down a weight and become the first Brit to do that. So it's, you know, he's a little bit of a history maker in himself. Please God, he wins the fight, and I believe he can. He hasn't got it. It's not an easy fight for him. He's a tough guy who he's fighting, but if anybody can do it, he can. He's got a great boxing brain. It's his natural weight, so I think he's more comfortable at super flyweight, and I'm really looking forward to that fight. I think he's a great advert for British boxing. I think he's one of the most talented fighters we've got. I was a bit disappointed with Boxing News. When he won that world title, they didn't even put him on the front cover of Boxing News. I mean, what sort of does that tell you about British boxing? But he's there, and I think he's going to make his mark big time this year.
March the 6th also, Liam Smith will be back in action. What's the plan for Liam Smith this year? There's always been a lot of promise around Liam Smith, still undefeated. Moving forward, is he close to any sort of world title shot?
I think the big problem's been with Liam is purely down to injuries. I mean, he's had quite a few injuries, and it's sort of, he's had a stop-start career, and hopefully that's all behind him now. He's got to make this year his year. I mean, I'll give him the opportunities, and it's now up to him to deliver. And I think he's more than capable of delivering. There's some great fights out there for him, and you know, I think the board are about to order the fight with him and Liam Williams. I don't know whether that's going to go on or not. But
is that a possibility for March 6th or too soon?
No, that's too soon. You know, but that was a great fight. That'd be if we go down that road. You know, we've got to make a decision. But there are a lot of good fights out there, and Liam is a capable operator, and I think he's the best out of the brothers.
And obviously the standout light middleweight in the country for you.
Stand out, but I think the other fella's not far behind him, is he? Liam Williams. You know, you've got to look at him. He's done everything that's been asked of him, so he's just on his, you know, he's just not quite there yet because he's not had as much experience. But I'll tell you what, he'll be knocking on the door as well this year.
Frank, a couple of weeks ago there was an announcement regarding Western TV and ITV and Carl Frampton's next fight, which will be on February 28th against Chris Avalos. First of all, ITV coming back into boxing, good for the sport it must be.
Brilliant for the sport. You couldn't get anything better than that. You know, we need terrestrial TV, and I'm really pleased they're in there. However, you know, their what's the word for it? Their programming is not great for boxing. You know, what on earth are we running two great shows on the same night on two different TV companies? I mean, it doesn't do boxing any favours. You know, ITV certainly wouldn't do that if Sky was showing Man United. They won't put Man City on the same night. It just doesn't happen, and that's the problem where it all falls down. From my point of view, is the value of what TV coverage is for boxing, and I think that, you know, it is great they're in, but then show some respect to the sport, and you know, do what they do with football, not just we just go head to head. It doesn't make sense for the fans at all.
We were in a situation last year where there was 3 shows on the same night. Sky had one, BoxNation had one, and also Channel 5 had one. But I mean, what do you do? Why? Well, people have grabbed the dates because promoters will say, "Oh, I need the date. I'm going to take that, whatever." But the TV companies, at the end of the day, it's down to the TV companies to show some respect to the sport. That's what they should do. Why would they not want to do that? You know, why do you want to kill another show, or why does one TV? That does not make any sense. That's no good for the game. What should happen is that there's a month. You've got 4 weekends in that month. Sort them out. Use some common sense and sort them out. It's madness.
No one can tell me that is good for the game. It's good we got TV, but it's not good the way they are putting the dates up against each other like that. Senseless.
Obviously,
darts don't do it.
Yeah.
Snooker doesn't do it. Football doesn't do that. So why on earth are we doing it?
Having years of obviously involvement with ITV yourself, how involved do you think they're going to be now?
Well, over the years they've dipped in and out of sport. You know, they cherry pick. They won't put no money into developing the sport. You know, they won't know what Sky has done or what. I'll go back when we used to do the Spike Night series and do the Seconds Out series. There was some, you know, develop into the grassroots level of professional boxing, but no more. They don't do that, and they won't do it. You know, Sky have done that. BoxNation do that. They'll dip in and out. It remains to be seen what they do with it. I hope they stay with it, but having been down that road quite a few times and seen, you know, what you know, from my experience, what happens when they'll drop it as soon as they take it. That's the mentality.
Obviously, February 28th, your show at the O2, you've got Tyson Fury, Chris Eubank. What does that show in Belfast do to BoxNation for the night? The subscription,
it doesn't
the
do
viewers,
nothing.
what does
You know,
it do?
we're in the age of where you can record shows, and what we're going to try and do is make sure find out what times the ITV fights are on, and you know, we'll try and stagger them, because at least we can do that, and that's what we'll try to do. You know, it's unfortunate we announced our date a long time ago, as you well know, put our show on sale a long time ago. So you know, we've just done what we've done. It is what it is, but we've got a fantastic show. You know, Tyson Fury's fighting a guy ranked in the top 3 in the world. It's a tough fight for him. He's not gone taking the soft option whilst he's waiting for Klitschko to get his fight out of the way with Brian Jennings. He's gone, you know, he said, get me somebody who's going to give me some rounds and give me a fight. So we've done that. And you've got Chris Eubanks Jr. who jumped straight into the deep end again, fighting shooting off. That's a tough fight for him. He's a tough guy. Tough Russian who's improved in the last 18 months. So they're interesting fights. They're good fights for the fans to watch.
As you just said previously, you announced the date for the show quite a while ago. Would you ever have considered moving that date over the Frampton Hourglass thing being on ITV?
Yeah, I'll be very honest about it. I would have done, but the venues are not available.
So that would have been.
That was it. We do next. I moved it to the following week. We've got the show on up in Liverpool. Yeah. We moved that to a Friday.
And actually, the week before, there's obviously Martin Murray's fight.
Yeah, and we moved that to a Friday to enable the viewers so there's no conflict. So the 6th of March is a Friday evening. So we're not in the business of that. It doesn't make sense for the boxers, for boxing, at all. And there's no commercial sense in that, and there's no commercial sense for the sport to be doing that. It just doesn't. It's a ridiculous scenario.
This year, obviously on BoxNation, we've already had some great fights. Stevon Wilder, obviously quite notably, Deontay Wilder has huge relevance to us as UK fans with the Tyson Fury thing.
Yeah.
Has there been any development in that front?
Well, I'm not only. We had a little chat a few weeks ago, but he was it last couple of days. He said he wanted to fight Fury next. I mean, all he's got to do is really simple to make that fight. Pick the phone up, get your manager or your promoter, pick the phone up, and we'll make it in a heartbeat. That is not a problem making that.
Can't you make the approach?
Well, we've done that, but but nothing's come back. But we're not keep talking about it.
Yeah.
You know, we've done it. We've had the conversation. He's the one who keeps putting it out there. So let's, talk is easy. Tell your representatives to get in touch with us and make the fight. It's easy to make. It's a phone call. I tell you what, it would be the easiest fight you could ever make.
And obviously, they had the press conference the other day for Klitschko and Brian Jennings. Yeah. They fight in April in Madison Square Garden, I believe. Yeah. So again, you've got to keep tabs on this.
Well, after that fight, we've got 30 days to reach an agreement, and if we don't, we're going to purse bids, and that's where we are. And we're keeping Tyson busy. He's not sitting on his backside saying, "I'll wait till that's out of the way." He's saying, I want to be fighting fit. I want rounds under my belt. I want to fight. And you've got to take your hat off to him for that. He's in a risky situation, ranked number 1 in the world, and he doesn't need to do this, but he wants to do it. So you've got to respect him for that.
I don't think many people are expecting Bryant Jennings to beat Klitschko. But if he is to beat Klitschko, where does that leave Tyson Fury with the mandatory situation? Same thing.
Yeah.
But would Bryant Jennings be allowed a voluntary after that?
No. Not unless he'd get one if he vacates the title, because it's cut the title in the night. But he'll have to vacate.
How confident are you at some point this year that Fury will fight for that?
Well, provided he wins on the 28th,
yeah, obviously,
which is a big,
yeah.
you know, not a tempt fate, but provided he comes through that, I'm very, very, very confident. This is the year for the heavyweights to sort out who's the best. We know who's the best. We know that Klitschko's the best up there, but all these young bucks that are coming through, all these guys that are there, we'll give them an opportunity. So let's find out that the fans see. Let's get back to the old days when you had one champion, the best guy. You know, the two Klitschko brothers have been great in some ways for the sport, but it has over the years just confused the issue, confused the fans. You know, people don't know who is Vitali, who is Vladimir. No one knows what's what. Obviously, they're brothers, so they won't fight each other. So that's where I think the heavyweight division lost a lot of its lustre, and hopefully now we can get that back. You know, it might be the end of it, or it might be, you know, Vladimir at the end of the year is beating everybody, and then what he cemented his legacy. But I think these kids are going to give him, these youngsters, I think they're going to give him a lot of problems.
Big talking point since the Super Bowl in America recently was obviously the fact that Mayweather Pacquiao wasn't announced. I think a few people were very hopeful that that was going to be the day where Floyd announced it.
It was going to be announced.
Well, we did. I think a lot of people watched that for that sole reason. No interest in the Super Bowl whatsoever. But any information on that, Frank?
Oh, well, any information. You know, look, it's a saga. It's been an on-running saga for the last 5 years. I'm sure the fight will happen. Will it happen on May the 2nd? When, you know, the old sands are going through that hourglass, and you know, every day it goes on, it's either going to be put back, and Mayweather won't fight in the 2nd, or he'll fight somebody else. It's a very important day for pay-per-view, obviously in America, because it's the Mexican bank holiday, and that traditionally generates a lot of pay-per-view buys, so they're always looking for a big fight. So that's what they've got in mind to do. But I don't know. I think there's more issues than people think. You know, and there must be issues, otherwise it's been signed off. No one signed any contracts. There aren't any contracts signed, and I think there's issues over. You know, it's not just about the fight. It's who gets the delayed broadcast. Who are going to be the sponsors? You know, there's two different beer companies, aren't there, who sponsor both the guys? You know, both their fights, Takada and Corona, all that sort of stuff. There's all, you know, all those sort of things. But I suppose where there's a will, there's a way, and hopefully they'll get it on because the fans deserve to see it. But whatever happens, you know, they're not going to remain inactive, the two of them. They'll carry on fighting.
Al Heyman and Premier Boxing airing on NBC. I think they've got their first show in March, the same weekend as your Liverpool show. As regards to BoxNation, will you be covering those fights?
Well, George, you need to speak to George about that, but obviously there's a lot of talks going on, so we'll see what happens. But of course, you know, I think it's great for boxing. It's back on terrestrial TV in the States. It's absolutely revolutionised in some way boxing, and the way that, you know, Al's done is, from what I understand, the deals he's done. It's going to be interesting to see whether that works. But one thing for sure, it's on terrestrial TV in the States, and terrestrial TV, I'm quite sure will, when they see some of the fighters and the fights that are on, they're going to produce some superstars. And that's really what it's all about. You know, I assume from where he's at, but it's you know, it's a bold move, and people, you know, I like boldness. I think, you know, people who are innovative and go out there and do things and make things happen. That's great for the sport. That's fabulous for boxing. Where
do you think this leaves Golden Boy as a promotional company?
I think they've got their fighters, and they'll carry on promoting on HBO. They do stuff with HBO, and they'll be carrying on doing
Showtime, I think they are, aren't they?
They've got something with Showtime, but I think they'll be doing stuff with HBO. Well, you know, whoever
yeah.
But the bottom line is, remember, you've got Showtime, you've got HBO. They're not something out of the game, aren't they? They're in there. So it's another broadcaster.
Yeah.
So they're not going to say, "Oh, hang on a minute, we can do less dates." They've got to fill those dates up with fights, and you know, not one promoter can, or one manager can run the whole of boxing. It's never going to happen. Never will happen. just makes it more competitive, and it makes it more, exciting for everyone.
Did you see James's interview with Don King recently?
Yes, I did. Yeah. Oh, the heavyweight fight?
Yeah.
It's good fun. Yeah, Don and I go back a long time. We had some good times, and we did some great shows together, both here and in the States, and it was great for British boxing.
I think you should get one of them jackets made.
Union Jack on it.
With all the patchwork and all that, you could put like Andy Aylin's face on it, Richard Maynard's face on it.
I could put that in the window at night, keep the burglars away.
But I mean, listen. Obviously, we're at the start of this year. We're into February now. What is the biggest fight that's available to you that you would like to make this year? Or give me 2 fights.
Actually, it's a bit. I like this stuff. Well, first of all, the heavyweight fight. I mean, for me, Tyson Fury, he wants to fight Klitschko.
Yeah.
That's where he's at. That's where his head is. He wants to fight him because Klitschko, as far as he's concerned, I suppose the world's concerned, he's the #1 heavyweight. So I'd love to see that happen, that fight. Or Wilder. So count that as one fight if you can. There are a number of great fights that you can make. I'd like to see the return between Billy Joe and Chris Eubanks. I think that's a big fight. I'd like to see Andy Lee and Billy Joe. So I'm already one up on the 2 fights. There are quite a few fights there that can be made that are great fights. And this lightweight division, as we mentioned earlier, there are a lot of guys out there that are going to we're going to get some big fights this year. Not 2. We're going to get some. I think in the second half of the year, it's going to get really lively, and the business will call for the fights to happen. And as I say, I'd like to see certainly those kind of fights happening quickly.
Certainly hope so. All right, Frank, that's it. Wolverhampton this week, Civic Hall, and Widnes, then Liverpool March the 6th. So they're our next 3 shows.
Yeah, they're on BoxNation, and then we've got the you've got the other one, haven't you? The 27th March, York Hall. Tom Baker's fights in Kevin Greenwood, and we've got Miles Shinquin on there as well.
Is he fighting Richard Horton?
He's fighting Richard Horton. Yeah, they're good little fights.
Yeah.
There's some good stuff there, plus all the other stuff that BoxNation's doing. And we've got the big thing that my son Francis has been working on, which that's going to be quite interesting. I think, in about 6 weeks' time, that's something going to spring on everybody, and I think they're going to enjoy it. He's done a great job with it.
Yeah, without saying too much, I was at the night the other night, and it was.
You enjoyed it?
Yeah, well, I did enjoy it. It was an interesting format, and
it is.
See how it's going to pan out. All right, Frank. Unless you've got anything else you've been working on that you want to tell us?
No, we're always working, but I think it's enough there for everybody to get on with, and hopefully, we next week we'll have another few announcements regarding the international fights that are going on the channel.
Looking to sign anyone?
We signed a couple of kids, and we're talking to a couple at the moment, which is quite interesting.
Whatever happened to that thing with Regondo? Did anything ever happen from that front?
No, never. It was just hard work. It was hard work, and in the end, I lost the will to live with it.
Really?
The monies and the demands. It's bad enough paying him a purse. Then they wanted money to pay some old promoter, and then pay some guy who's an ex-manager. It's just ridiculous. I mean, they're all their problems, not mine. Here's our money. What you do is up to you. Yeah. And then they want us to pay money on something. It just got ridiculous. And I think he's suffered as a result of that, because he'd have been on one of these shows by now. So that's, but that's what it is. And sometimes people need to step back and be sensible regarding that. But it's all there's a few things going on, and it's all, as I say, it's going to be quite interesting. Some good stuff happening.
We shall look forward to it. All right, Frank, thank you very much for talking to IFL TV. Yeah, and we'll catch up with you obviously this week, and we should do this. I think make this a regular thing. I know we keep saying it.
I'm here. I'm not going anywhere, so whenever you like.
Just a catch up will be good for the viewers anyway. So
good for the viewers.
Thank you very much. It's KUGAN CASSIUS for IFL TV with Frank Warren.